How we going, Deadly Funny? Oh, holy crap, you are a good-looking crowd tonight. I tell you what, so much honey in this room makes me wish it was a pancake. As you probably heard, I am actually from the Torres Strait, and the problem with being Indigenous, as some of you may know, is that there's so many of us that, you know, you white fellas tend to get a bit confused, you know? Like this one little white lady, she came up to me once and she said, "Listen, I don't mean to offend you, but are you Torres Strait?" To which my response is, "How dare you? I'm Torres gay." That is a slight exaggeration. I'm actually Torres bi. But let's be honest, that's nowhere near as catchy. Yeah. Can you give me a cheer, white people? Where are you? Yeah, I can definitely see all of you. Just out of interest, how does it feel to be the minority in the room? But you know, and you know, you were actually a much better crowd than I had the other week. I was performing at what was it? Pancreas? Spleen on Burke Street. And I walk on, and I was the only black fella performing. And for 2 minutes, as I start talking, no one says a word. No one laughs, no one cheers, nothing. It's not that my jokes were shit, they just thought brother was doing a traditional welcome. I don't know. And look, coming from Queensland, a lot of people seem to have a problem with it. Does anyone have a problem with the fact that I come from Queensland? Anybody? Or do you just not want to admit it? Because anyone who doesn't want to admit it, I suggest you buy a deck of cards and deal with it. So, I come from Queensland. I was filling out a form for the State Library the other day, and this woman who, you know, well, actually, let's do this in song, shall we? Do you like my guitar? If you're wondering why Grimace went missing from McDonald's, coincidence? I think not. So anyway, I'm filling out a form for the State Library, and I hand it to the woman at the front desk, and she goes, "Oh, are you really from Queensland?" I said, "Absolutely." She goes, "Oh, because you speak very good English." What was I supposed to say to that? I couldn't get mad at her, you know, she was a senior citizen, so I suppose at some point in history her family might have owned mine. Here's a glass of concrete, harden the fuck up. Queensland. So, I've just moved down to Melbourne recently. I have to admit, it's very different from where I come from. I mean, Melbourne people in general are quite honest. You always speak your mind. Except when it comes to a bloody tram. What is this unspoken rule about not being allowed to speak on a tram? I've been to libraries louder than this, seriously. I was on the tram and I had to do this really loud sneeze, you know? I was holding it in for a few hours and it ended up turning into one of those psycho dog sneezes, you know? Everyone, of course, has stared at me at this point. The ice has been broken. You know, fat penguin standing on a block. So, you know, the ice is broken. Everyone's staring at me. The worst part is I was the one who friggin' apologised. I do apologise, ladies and gentlemen. I couldn't hold my ear in. I'm sorry I sneezed. I really am. I hope you're getting off at the next stop. Something coming from the basement next. Can we get a round of applause for the fart joke? I'm glad you liked it. Had to have one, had to have one. I'm gonna put this down, it's starting to break my neck. They tend to move on me, I'm sorry. So, yes, I have moved down and I'm very much enjoying your lovely city. I was cruising down your river Yarra recently. And I have to admit, you guys have an absolutely gorgeous city. I mean, and it's massive compared to where I come from in far north Queensland. Absolutely massive. I was walking down the street and, you know, on the way here, and you know, I'm not Povo or anything. I was walking down the street and I came across here 2 city blocks it took me to walk all the way here. Now, considering it was only 2 city blocks in Melbourne, in Cairns, that's about the size of my suburb. But, you know, on top of being a minority, as I am Indigenous, as you've probably guessed by now, like I said, some people can't guess that you're black, especially since I have a grasp of the English language. People ask me, are you really black? I go, no, I've just had a very, very long holiday. But on top of being black, I'm also, like I said, I'm a minority in more than one regard. I mean, if I was to count it up, I'm black, I'm single, I finished grade 12, and I'm bisexual. Basically, what I'm saying is the more boxes I tick, the quicker I can get Centrelink. So, and you know what? I love being bisexual. Do we have any sexual minorities in the audience? Gays, lesbians, anybody? Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming and for actually admitting it to everybody. But you know, I always knew that sexually I was different. I mean, I genuinely enjoy getting my prostate checked. It's true, I do. I did Movember last year, you know, and I did Movember last year, and it's, you know, so you know, I'm getting the prostate checked. I'm up again. They fucking give you the grooves in the wall to hold on to, as if that's meant to make you feel better. Seriously, it looks, up in Queensland where I come from, seriously, it looks like the thing they put the bull in to make sure he stands still during the rodeo. And so, you know, he gets the you know, the jelly, and, you know, and he goes with the 2 fingers. Do you have a problem with me saying this, love? It was for me too. But he gets the jelly. He gets the jelly, and you know, up the finger, you know, up the thing he goes, and I don't know what the fuck he's looking for, but he's looking, you know. And for those of you who are unaware, for all of the young males in the room, your prostate basically, well, it's part of this, but it belongs here, right? And it's a bit like a donut, and his job is to make sure it hasn't turned into a bagel. So, 2 fingers up the bum, and you know, it's a strange sensation because usually they buy me dinner first, and so up he goes, and he's looking around. 2 minutes later, he's done. He goes, and like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed it. He takes off the gloves and he goes, Mr. Wymarra, excellent. See you in about a year. I said, bullshit, I'm seeing you tomorrow, motherfucker. What are you doing on Saturday? On top of all of this, if, you know, being black and being a bisexual, rejection king, but I'm also a nerd. If you may not have noticed, I'm actually a massive nerd. I really am. In fact, if you broke down my name and rearranged the letters, it actually spells an old Klingon word for he who is knowledgeable. Now, while that on its own does not qualify me as a nerd, the fact that I took time to work it out fucking does. I want to share, and while we're on the topic of nerdiness, I want to share something with you tonight. I play Quidditch. Yes, I play Quidditch! Yes, I do. I seriously do. I'm one of the 2 black fellas in the room. In the room? Sorry, in the country, I should say. It's all one big bedroom. I'm one of two blackfellas in the country who actually plays Quidditch. The problem with this is that you can't explain Quidditch to anyone who doesn't play it without making it sound sexual. So, what do? Well, we charge up and down a field, straddling a broomstick, throwing our balls at each other. Actually, quick impression, what am I doing? Polishing my broomstick handle. But I love playing Quidditch, and look, I just want to leave you with one final little piece of, a little tidbit of information, is that whenever you speak to a blackfella, just be careful what you say, because you need to be able to make sure that you can come back from anything that a blackfella says, because a blackfella has a smart mouth. We all know this. Blackfellas, isn't that true? Yes. We are extremely smart mouth. I'll give you one last story before I go. So, I was dating this basketball. I was dating a short person, and he was a Swedish fella. He was gorgeous, absolutely. He seduced me one night, and by seduced me, I mean, oh, isn't this lemonade funny? But he, you know, I owned a little ginger cat. I owned a little ginger tabby, and I left it with him to mind while I was on this work trip. So, off I go to Brisbane. There's the cat. He calls me up the second day. He calls me up screaming in a fit of rage. And he goes, Jay, do you know what's just happened? Do you know? I said, no, you're calling me. Oh, really, Mr. Smartass, Mr. Funny Man, let me tell you what happened. Your cat just pissed on my carpet. Do you know that your cat just pissed all over my carpet? Granted, he was very angry. Now, it is at this point in the conversation that I hear sensible Jay going, okay, what you should do is... And I couldn't hear him after that. Because that's when Smartass Jay goes, no, let me handle this. Do you know how serious this is? He peed all over my carpet. I said, yes, I do know how serious this is. Put him on and let me speak to him. Good night, Deadly.